guys have an announcement that we're going to talk about first, about the event that we're going to, I guess it'll be our 3rd or 4th annual event we'll be doing in Florida. So
absolutely excited about it. And we actually, when we were in Utah, we talked about this, and we're going to kick this off, and I got to give a big shout out to Andrea Rosser, because she's been working behind the scenes getting all this pulled together, and we've got it. So we are going to do, and you're right, Chris, both events have been outstanding that we've done here. And so you can mark your calendars. Andrea, if you want to show, so here's the thing. This is going to be the first of so one of our goals is every 90 days is to put on an event in a location. Okay. And when we put on these events, I think Chris will tell you, we spare no expense. I mean, we want it to be an absolute awesome experience for you and all of your people and your team, but learn a lot as well. So mark your calendars. The Destination Success event is going to be February the 7th. I'm sorry. I don't want you to mark your calendar for that. That's wrong. Yeah. Andrea, you put it all together. February the 18th and 19th. Andrea, go ahead and talk to everybody about it, and then I'll come back on.
Hey, Brent, let me say this real quick, because I'm going to have to get off before she gives the details. Guys, this is the best location that I've ever seen for an event. It is. You've got 7 restaurants on the beach right next to it. This is one that you want to kind of gear up now. They're going to be talking about formulating some promotions to win the Mastermind, being able to go out on the water and eat. This is one that you're really going to want to, between now and February, get about 10 new people in your business and get them to the event. And I know when Andrew gets the details, the thing I'm most excited about are the room rates. They are just through the roof cheap. So Brent, I'll sign off, let y'all give the details, but I'm more excited about this upcoming event in February than I've been about one since I've been in the company for 10 years.
Yeah, this event's it's going to be absolutely amazing. And Andrea, why don't you go ahead and give the details where everybody mark their calendar, and then I'll come back on and kind of fill in the details of what we've got.
Well, good morning, everybody. And yes, I'm super excited. I've had the privilege of working with the hotel, kind of dealing with some of the details. And I will tell you that is the best thing so far. Obviously, I haven't been out there yet. I'm sure it is incredibly beautiful, but our room literally is, you can get it as cheap as $99 a night. And they're waiving, if you book directly through the hotel, and I'll show the link in just a second, but if we book directly through the hotel, they're going to waive the resort fees, which is, $20 a night. So definitely very affordable for the room. But we will have a leadership mastermind event on the 17th. The coaches will talk about the details on that. And then the event is the real event is going to be on February 18th and 19th. It's going to start at 1 p.m. And I don't know how much detail you want me to go into here, Coach, but we're going to go from about 1 until 6 on Friday. So people that get there early have time to enjoy the beautiful Destin area. And then we'll have Friday evening free to hang out with our teams, have a great time. Then Saturday, we start at 9. We're going to run until noon with a good break in the middle of the day. Again, it's gorgeous there so that everybody can go out and appreciate that, see all of the beauty of the area. We'll come back together at 2, and we're going to have a great training event until 6. Then we get another little break, and then it's time to come back and celebrate. So we're putting on, the evening dinner reception. I'm sure that Todd will come up with some kind of theme for us. I don't know what it'll be. That's not my wheelhouse. I'm good at spreadsheets, not the creative part. But I'm sure it's going to be a blast. And they've put it together for a really affordable price for everything. So the Eventbrite, if you guys want to grab a screenshot, Coach can talk about the limited attendance and all that kind of stuff. But truly is going to be amazing. And in the chat, I'll put the Eventbrite and I'll put the hotel link so everybody can get registered.
Yeah, I'll jump in because it's quite interesting booking events today with people working from home. off season, you know, has turned into there's never an off season. People are always working, you know, but they're working from remote locations. So we got a room now. Andrea showed it's limited. We got a limited amount. So we want you to go on Eventbrite and go ahead and work this with your team to book your tickets, right? It's $89, but that covers the meals, that covers the, you know, the events and the things like that. But I'll tell you, it's going to be outstanding. And we've got room. We're pushing for 500 in a room, which is like absolute max capacity, and we're going to fill it up. I mean, it will absolutely fill up. So don't wait around on this, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, take pictures, take screenshots. Andrea, show it one more time. Take screenshots of this. Start to promote it to your team. Start giving them a chance, because what I don't want is people feeling like once it's out, we're out. We filled it up. Okay, we can't go anywhere else. So I don't want anyone to feel like they didn't hear about this. So push it out there. And again, the mastermind on February the 17th, that's on a Thursday. What we're going to do for that mastermind is it's not going to be title. It's not going to be a title equivalent mastermind this time. What we're going to do is we're going to run a contest, and we'll get more info to you this week about the contest we're going to run. And that contest is going to be your ticket into the mastermind. And it's going to be a different mastermind. I'm talking about, we're going to spare no expense for this mastermind. It's going to be unbelievable. We're going to spend a day and an evening together at this mastermind. We're going to bring people in for this mastermind. It's going to be really, really, really great. So what we want to do is we want to make it to where people have, thank you, Andrea, for that. We want to make it to where people have to qualify, including ourselves, because we're in a $500 million startup company, ladies and gentlemen. And so what we want to do is we want to build our business going into the event personally, be in create and build mode. And so we're going to create you know, a promotion, if you will. I can't get the words out this morning. We're going to create a promotion that will lock your spot into that mastermind on that Thursday. So we'll get that information out to you this week. And Andrea, Lex, you got a question.
Well, I just wanted to mention, so the room rate really is crazy, and the waive fees is really crazy, but they're only giving it to us for 30 days. So I know that means planning ahead a little bit, but if you guys can book your rooms as soon as possible, then you won't miss out on that discounted rate. And so they do have a smaller block. They said they might be able to give me a few more rooms if we need them. But I would say, if you want that discounted rate, if you want to be on site, book that ASAP so that we can make sure you're in there.
I've stayed there, by the way. I thought it was interesting. That's the hotel and resort I stayed at when we did the event last year. So it's a really cool place. I mean, it has waterfalls and the pools and it's just a cool place. It has a lot of neat things about it.
I've stayed there too, Chris, and it's going to be, it really is one of the most beautiful places that we could have the event at. So I'm excited about that. But we're going to build for this, build for that. But you can go to Eventbrite right now or after this, and you can go ahead and lock your tickets in. I'm sorry. No. Okay. We'll have it up. We'll have it up. We'll promote it. I'm sorry. Sorry, we don't have it up yet.
No.
That's my fault.
It's absolutely up. I was saying, don't jump off the training now. We have a great training. So yeah, register after. Sorry, I was being funny.
Yeah. I'm excited about this, Chris. I'm going to turn it back to you because I got to say this about Robert Allen. I mean, multiple streams of income for a new millennium. I just, looking at what he does and what he gives back to people and how he pours into people and the knowledge he brings, I just feel like it's a gift that we have in this company to have him as an ambassador. And I can't wait for this morning to take notes.
I've got my pad out. I want to make one more comment about the event. Obviously, guys, if you want to really build a business, you build, as Coach Palmer, Coach Rowland both tell you, we build from event to event. And that's how you want to grow your business. It's not about you being there. That should be a no question asked. I'll be there. The second thing is, how many people am I going to get to come with me and do whatever you can? And they've done a great job of getting some great rates. So anyway, let's get a lot of the people here on for. I mean, obviously, I have to pinch myself sometimes to think that Robert Allen, because I read his books, to think he's on a Zoom with us, helping us and sharing knowledge with us. And, he's not getting paid to do this. I mean, he's up on the West Coast, getting up early and doing this. And he got on early, and he said, what do you the direction you want me to go today? And I'm going to kind of start that. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter what company, what business, it doesn't matter if it's working out. What Robert Allen brings to the table is he knows that everything comes down to your mindset. And that's what I told him I wanted to talk about. What is your mindset? And how do you build a multi-million-dollar business if that's what you're here for? Because I think sometimes people underestimate themselves. They never put themselves in the position to do something special. And it's not about their good looks. It's not about their education or where they came from. It's all about this part. And so with that, I don't know how you put accolades on a guy that's had multi-million selling books. I mean, what can I say? Millions and millions of books sold, New York Times best-selling books. Robert Allen, thank you for being on. And we want to hear your words of wisdom. So I'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Chris. And hi, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, Coach Palmer, is it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, well, thank you for mentioning multiple streams of income. That's really nice. But today I'm actually going to talk about another best-selling book that many of you have heard of before. And that's this one by our friend Chris.
Well, I didn't sell them. I don't think I sold 10 million copies. I think I sold about 100, mostly family members.
Yeah, exactly. And they probably haven't read it yet either.
Yeah.
That's the way it is with most books. Frankly, they sit on the shelf. But I don't know if you've read this, but it's filled with incredible stories. And this is one of my favorite stories when I think about you, Chris. He says regularly in front of the other students, his chemistry teacher in junior year of Riverside High School, his chemistry teacher told him he was stupid. He would say things like, "I don't know why you took this class because you're going to end up in prison one day anyway." So
You read the book.
And another great part of his story, because every one of us has stories like that in our lives, right? So he says, near the end of my senior year at Riverside High, I was voted by my classmates as most likely to succeed. You'd think you'd be proud of that, right? Well, however, due to my low GPA, the award was taken away from me. There was no written rule regarding a required GPA for this award, but no one with a low GPA had ever been selected. So the faculty overrode the decision of my classmates and gave the reward to somebody else. To say that hurt me is a gross understatement. In addition to being hurt, I cannot tell you how much resentment I felt. Now, this is the part of the story I want to emphasize, because this is a classical signature characteristic of a successful entrepreneur. When they have a story like that, when somebody says something like that to them or does something like that to them, he says, perhaps that made me want to succeed even more, so I could someday look at that faculty and say, how do you like me now? and how do you like him now is the real question, because he's one of the best of the best. My signature story happened like that for me when I graduated from Brigham Young University with my MBA. And don't be impressed, I graduated in the 1/3 of my class that made the top 2/3 possible. I actually graduated in the 1/10 of my class that made the 9/10. possible. It was a lot of math, and I wasn't really very good at that. And it was preparing me to work as a corporate, VP or in the corporate world. And I thought that's what I wanted to do because my dad had worked in a corporate world. I became a head accountant at a factory in Canada where I grew up in Alberta. And so I just didn't have any other models to really look at. So I thought I'd work as a corporate person and get my salary and work for the rest of my life till I got my paycheck, my retirement check, right? And so I went to school, 6 years of school, got my MBA, applied to 30 major corporations around the world. The biggest ones I could think of: General Foods, General Motors, General Electric, General Mills, and generally every company I could think of. And I sent a letter to 30 of those corporations, and I got 30 rejections. And I remember all 30 of those letters coming back. I laid them out on my bed in my apartment where I was staying, and I was depressed. I was discouraged. I thought, hey, I've spent 6 years preparing for this future life, and it seems like nobody wants me. It was a bad recession at that time, so maybe that was part of it. But the real part of it is, when I fill out my evaluations for each company, they wanted you to fill out some kind of a survey of your skills, etc. They got the answer back that I was not going to be a good employee. That's just not my mindset. That's just not who I am. I am a fiercely independent, and to work with somebody else and somebody else's dream, to help build somebody else's dream, was just not my dream. I wanted to build my dream. And I'd read some books on real estate investing, read Think and Grow Rich. That was first for me. And that's probably a book that many of you have read before, Think and Grow Rich. If you'd like a copy of that and the audio of it, I'm happy to give it to anybody and any member of your team. I have recorded Think and Grow Rich in my voice. So I read every word and recorded every word. I love that book. It's 13 Principles of Mindset, right? But as I laid these books on, or these rejection letters on my bed, thinking about my dream, which was Think and Grow Rich, and which was how to buy real estate with little or no money down. I didn't have a lot of money, so I'd read a book on how to buy real estate, and I thought, maybe that's what I'll do. And I followed my intuition. See, this is a really important part of success, is you just kind of have to know what is your path. You have to discover who you are. And that's what life is all about, to discover who you are and what your strengths are, what your gifts are that you can give to the world. And I just didn't realize, I was younger at the time, I didn't realize that one of my gifts was not to be an employee, because employee-minded people have a fundamental principle. They have a value that's really, really important to them. And entrepreneurs have a completely different value. For employee-minded people, the value is safety and security. And therefore, they're willing to make small, slow money in order to have a long-term safety and security mindset, and to work for one company for 50 years, if necessary. Just that's not the way the world is today. People will go through 10, 15, 20 different jobs and 5 or 6 different careers, but they have this mindset that's deeply ingrained in them, and they want to be safe, and they don't want to take lots of risks. And this is a mindset that was not my mindset. I didn't know it at the time. I had to discover it. But the way I discovered it was when I made these applications for me to get this safe, secure career, that these companies rejected me, and I discovered then that I was an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you how. It's a signature story, the same story that happened here for Chris, is when somebody tells you you can't do it, there's a part of you that switches and you go, watch me. Now, sometimes it takes a while for that switch to flip. And in my case, it took me 6 years and 30 rejections till I finally, the switch got flipped. And I remember after being depressed for maybe a week, looking at these letters on my bed, looking at the signatures of all these personnel directors who had signed this letter to reject me, and something switched, a switch got flipped inside me. And I said, wait a minute, who are these people anyway? These people who signed the rejection letters to me, who are these people? What do they know about me? And what do they know? Well, it turns out that they knew the truth about me. The truth was I was not going to be a good employee. They were right. I would have been a terrible employee. But the switch that got flipped was one day, and I remember saying this clearly, one day I will make more money than all 30 of these people combined. And I made a declaration to myself. And I still remember clearly standing above those 30 rejection letters and making that declaration. Nobody heard it, but I heard it. My declaration to me, I didn't declare to them. I never called them on the phone or sent them a letter and said, how dare you reject me? One day I'll make more money than I just said it to myself, but I meant it. It was one day, watch me. One day, as Chris says in his thing, one day that faculty will look at me and I'll ask them, how do you like me now? It's a signature story. You hear these kinds of stories from entrepreneurs, and I've heard hundreds of them. They're different kinds of rejections, but where you finally make a decision that maybe only you know, but you decide this is going to change. I'm going to prove to you that you're wrong. Now, this is kind of like a strange way to motivate yourself to prove somebody wrong. I can't tell you whether that's an enlightened decision or not. All I can tell you is that was the decision that I made. I'm going to prove you wrong one day. And I've heard, like I said, I've heard that hundreds of times from lots of entrepreneurs around the world. Eventually, I believe that's an immature way to motivate yourself. But it's that I was immature. I was beginning my life. I was still single. I didn't realize that one day I would be talking to you as an author of books that have sold millions of copies. I had none of that was clear to me. The only thing that was clear to me is that one day I'd make more money than all 30 of those people combined. And therefore I wrote it down. You know, I started and wrote down my objectives. I want to be a millionaire. And I wrote it down and I calculated my net worth every single year. I bought more properties. The properties increased in value. My net worth went up and up and up until I had that first $1 million net worth, which took, I never can't remember exactly, but sometime between 3 and 5 years for me graduating with a degree until I graduated with the degree I really wanted, which was my Millionaire degree. And then I had this hunch and I followed my intuition, which was, it's time to write your book now. Now, this is a more enlightened decision and a more enlightened declaration. First, as an immature man, I wanted to prove people wrong, but then it grew to where I went from me decisions to we decisions, where I said, I want to write my book. I want to be a #1 New York Times bestseller. But why? Well, because I've got a story I want to tell, and I've got the system that I created for myself worked, and it works from my friends. I brought them into my office at night, and I would teach them the principles of nothing down real estate and creating wealth and things like that. And they did it, and they went out and did it. I got success stories, and I felt really inspired by that. I'll tell you what, when the switch flipped for me was when I got a letter from somebody who said, Robert, your book changed my life. It changed my life. And I'm an immature beginning author, and I never really got that the book really would help somebody. And it was so profound to me. I began to realize that when you write a book, you not only earn a royalty from your book, but the book now becomes a seed, and it gets planted in the hearts of people who are searching for answers to their problems and their questions in life. And maybe it's just, it comes into their life at exactly the right time, almost as if it was a revelation for them. And this is going to help you in your life. So read this book. Have you ever walked through a library or a bookstore and just seen a book just kind of stand out for you, and you go like, whoa, maybe I'm supposed to read that book? And so I began to realize that when you change somebody's life through a book or through training, it doesn't have to be book-wise. It could be what you guys are doing here with each other. When you change somebody's life, you change a generation of lives, not just that person, but that person's surrounding friends and family members. And those members grow and learn and spread that message to more people. So you change, maybe one life changes 1,000 lives. And so it's extremely profound. And so it becomes a much more powerful motivation. You know, one of the reasons why I'm 73 years old, why am I even talking to you this morning? Because this is what I do. This is my song. This is the song that I sing. These are the words, my lyrics. And I'm sharing that with you because that's my purpose in life. That's what I do. When you finally get to that point where you're motivated by that, not by the fact you're trying to prove somebody wrong, but you're trying to find that small percentage of people you were meant to talk to. For example, my avatar, my ideal person is an entrepreneurial minded person. And how many of us are there in our country? Well, 1 in 7 are entrepreneur minded. 1 in 7. That means 6 people you talk to are not going to understand what you're saying. If you're trying to inspire them with a business opportunity, for instance, 6 out of 7 will not get it. They want to make some extra money, but they don't want to go through the rejection part in order to earn it. It's just goes against their nature and their internal values, and they can eventually grow to where the switch gets flipped from being an employee to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, that can happen, definitely. But generally speaking, people don't change much. So, you know, maybe 1 out of 7 is on the other side, the employee side, and they kind of want to be an entrepreneur, but they're not willing to take the risks. But yeah, if they're on the fence, and you can tip them over into the entrepreneur side. And sometimes life forces them to be entrepreneurs. Isn't that what happened in this pandemic? Life forced us to realize that the employee life is very insecure, and that we give control away to our employers. And then when some tragic thing happens, like has happened in the last 2 years, we realize that we are in control. We have to decide that the value that we want in our life is the value that inspires entrepreneurs. And that value is freedom. Freedom is number 1 for us. We want to be free, and we're doing whatever it takes, however long it takes to get to that financial freedom, or all kinds of freedom, really. Whereas the employee-minded person is security-oriented. That's their value. We are freedom-oriented, meaning we're willing to step outside our comfort zones. Most people are not willing to do that. If you're safety-oriented, you're inside your comfort zone. That's the zone of employees. They don't dare step outside their comfort zones because they feel that it's better to be safe and to be secure inside their comfort zones. But we know that the life that we always, everything we've ever wanted is about that far outside our comfort zone. And that we are motivated by freedom so much that we're willing to get outside into the danger zone, is what most people call it. Yes. Comfort zone, danger zone, comfort zone, danger zone. And so we step out into the danger because we want freedom and we're willing to risk. You know, we step out into the risk, and we are willing to put up with some rejection, and because that's just the way we are. And we begin to realize that the truth of the matter is the safety, the comfort zone is the most dangerous place you can be, because it's a place of shrinkage. It's when you shrink. You shrink, your comfort zone gets smaller and smaller. It shrinks you because the only way to grow is to risk. And therefore, some people call it the danger zone, but it's not the danger zone. It's actually the opportunity zone. Stepping outside your comfort zone is where the opportunity is, all of it, whatever you want. And we have made the decision to step outside, and we are outside our comfort zone, and it's uncomfortable. That's the point. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not doing it right. When you get up in the morning, if you're not stretching outside, that's what stretching is. It's stretching. You're not doing it right. You got to do it right by being uncomfortable, by willing to stretch into the uncomfort zone, right? So when somebody tells you you can't do it as an entrepreneur, since freedom is your value, in an immature way at the very beginning, you go, watch me, I'm going to prove you wrong. But eventually you become inspired and motivated by finding people who are in the comfort zone, and you know that they need to be out in the opportunity zone with you. And you know that living the life they're living is probably not going to take them to the dreams they've always wanted for their life. That they're being blinded by lies about life. And that's what happens in the comfort zone. And the reason they're stuck there is because they believed a lot of lies that are not true. And you now become the messenger to bring a few of them outside into the opportunity zone with you. And now it becomes love is what motivates you. Before, when you said, one day I'm going to prove you wrong, that was motivated almost by hate. It was like, I hate you, and I hate the way you treated me, and I hate the way I feel when you reject me. It's all about hate. And sometimes hate can motivate. Hate can motivate, no doubt about it. But eventually you grow into a more enlightened way of thinking, and you go, I love these people. I'm willing to have them reject me because I love them that much. And I want to invite some of them out into the opportunity zone with me. And many of them won't come. They won't get it. 5 out of 10, they'll think you're a fool. They'll think you're crazy. They think you're an idiot. As Doyle has told you many times, the story about William who rejected him and told him he thought he was crazy to be involved in the network marketing industry. He's told you that story. He says, he shows him a magazine of successful network marketers, and he's 5 years, 6 months, and 12 days after he was rejected by William. He never forgot that rejection. He came back 5 years later and put the magazine on William's desk and said, this is our industry, and this is the leader of our company, and that's what I was trying to invite you to come to enjoy with me 5 years ago. And William said to him, I see the president's pictures on there, but where's your picture? And he says, it's on page 12. In other words, he says, I thanked him for all he had done so that I could prove him wrong, and walked out. Well, eventually we talked to the Williams in our life, and a lot of them will never get it, like William never got it. And that's okay. It's what I want you to realize is just because you want to prove them wrong, maybe they were designed to be an employee. Maybe that's just their gift to the world, to be working on somebody else's dream and going to work every day, getting stuck in traffic both ways. Maybe that's their gift to the world, to be a steady, stable, security-oriented person, to do the pieces, the little pieces that the big thinkers can't do. And for many years, I would actually teach, when I wrote my books, I would teach that it was just wrong to be an employee, and how stupid can you be, and it was immature. It was immature on my part. I finally began to realize, and it took me like 30 or 40 years to finally figure this out, that I'm an entrepreneur because that's just the way I'm wired. And other people are employees because that's just the way they're wired. And they give good service when they go every day, and they sacrifice their dreams to make your dreams work. And I began to be thinking in a much broader way. So I don't hate employees any longer. I realize that it's okay for them to make small, slow money. But as an entrepreneur, I want to make big, fast money. It's just a totally different mindset. And I'm willing to now look at the world and see the chunks, see the different divisions of people out there, and to realize it's okay if you don't like my entrepreneurial opportunity. It's okay. Enjoy your life. But a few of them will be dissatisfied. They'll think about your challenge to them. You see, entrepreneurs love a challenge. And sometimes when you challenge them in a loving way, they'll think about it and they'll go, she's right. There is more. And I have been into homeostasis. I've kind of settled into life. I've settled. And it's time I stir things up again. Because all my dreams have settled down to the bottom, and it's time that I stir it up so I can see those dreams again, right? So what we are involved in a very special industry that is a dream making industry. You get to get whatever you dream. So one of the books that many of you have of mine is called The 4 Maps of Happy, Successful People. Looks like this. Now, in it, there are some maps that you draw, and some of you have a copy of this. If you don't, I emailed Chris before this started and sent him the digital version of this book to give to all of you. It talks about 4 fundamental skills of mindset. And we don't have a lot of time to teach you all 4 of those skills here today. But the first skill is called clarity. And that is, what do you want? What do you really want? Because it all boils down to that. In your life, there is a fork in the road 1,000 times a day. And the fork in the road is yes and no. As a yes or a no is like, is this decision I'm going to make now going to take me to my dream lifestyle? Is it going to take me there? And 1,000 times you'll make a decision today. And 1% of those decisions will change your future. Most of those decisions won't change your life. I got up this morning, I did my normal things that I do every day. I'll eat something, I'll shower, I'll shave, I'll do 1,000 little decisions, but 1% of those decisions are consequential. And when those decisions happen, you get to make a decision, yes or no. Will I do this or will I not do this? Will I do this thing that will take me towards my dream, or will I refuse to do the thing that will take me towards my dream? And it's a yes or no decision. It's a binary decision, zeros and ones. In fact, all of life can be boiled down to zeros and ones. And so I go to ask the question, will this decision take me toward what I want? Well, what if you don't know what you want? Therefore, every decision you make is inconsequential if you don't know what you want. So as a leader, as your team is growing and you become the leader, the teacher, the coach, you got to get really clear with them, with your brand new person. What do you really want? Because they're going to be facing decisions that will be hard to take. They'll be difficult. They'll be out in the uncomfort zone. And they might go, it's just too uncomfortable out here. I can't handle it. And that's when you come back to them. What did you tell me that you wanted when you were stuck in the comfort zone? What did you tell me you wanted? Well, that's where we're going. Come on, let's go. Let's go get it. And clarity means asking some really specific questions. Question number one, what do you really want 5 years from now? And make a date. Today's date is the 6th of November, 2021. So by the 6th of November, 2026, what does your life look like? You get up in the morning, what does it look like? Who is in that house with you? Or that houseboat? Or wherever you're living, in that condo, where are you living? Because that's the next question. Where is it when you wake up that morning? Having a lifestyle you said you wanted, where are you living that life? So you're making your dream more specific. And the more specific you can make your dream, the more clear it is, the more profound it is. In fact, the way you know if it's specific or not is if you have a number attached to it, because your brain is a computer and it computes numbers. And therefore, your brain is not you, your soul, your spirit, that's you. But your brain is a computer that processes the thoughts you have. And so you put a number to it. What is it? Okay, what do I really want? What does that look like? Can I number it? Okay. So the word where is this, how do you put a number next to where? Well, it's the city name, where you're living. That's the specificity. If you want to get even more specific, you can say, this is the neighborhood I want to live in, and if you have a dream house that you always like, tell me the address of the home. That would be really wonderful if one day you owned it. A good friend of mine is John Assaraf, and John was part of that movie called The Secret. And he tells a story in The Secret, but I experienced it myself for real. He said, he invited me to his house in California, and we lived across the valley for him. I could see his house. It's a white, square, beautiful architecture house. And I could see it. And one day he invited me to come over to it. And I walked in his house into his office. And it was a beautiful house, incredible art all over the walls. It's just fantastic. Probably 2 or 3 acres of, groves all around it. It was really nice. So anyway, he says, this is my vision board. And I go, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I've never had a vision board, actually. There was a big board across the walls of his office. And he says, my son came in here when we moved into my home, and I had just put my vision board up on my wall because it had been in the storage unit. When we moved from Indiana to California, I moved everything to a storage unit, and eventually we found this home, and we eventually put, pulled everything out. And finally, after a couple of years, the vision board went up in my office because I was emptying the storage unit. to me, Daddy, that's our house. And up on the vision board was a picture of the house that I was standing in, and I could see the picture myself. And it was a home that he had cut out of a magazine like 5 years earlier, and then forgot it and pulled it out of his storage unit 5 years later. And the very home that he had cut out he had bought it, and he was living in it. And I saw it myself. So sometimes having your vision like that sometimes goes deep into your subconscious, and it does a lot of the work where sometimes you consciously don't think about it. So the 7 questions are: what do I want? Where do I want it? How much do I want? That's the numberizing. How much do I want? Who do I want to help me get it? And who is going to live there, an ideal lifestyle with me? Why do I want this? Why do I really want this? I mean, why am I even inspired to get this? Why was I inspired to become a millionaire? I mean, that was just a really important decision for me when I was younger. I need to be a millionaire. Why? It took me a long time. I felt kind of guilty about for the longest time. You go to various churches, and sometimes wealth is seen to be as evil, And I said, well, I know that money doesn't bring happiness, but I'd like to find out for myself. So I felt, like I said, I felt very guilty about it for a while, but I thought I'll just ask forgiveness rather than permission. And so I went out to create my wealth, and feeling that maybe my Heavenly Father wasn't happy with me. And finally, I realized that this is why I breathe. This is what I do. I talk to entrepreneurs, and this is the way they think. This is how they resonate. And it's certainly not the most important thing in my life. Money is way, way down the list. When I was younger, it was much higher on the list, but it still wasn't the most important thing in my life. You put the most important things first, and you do them first, right? But eventually, the why becomes important to you. Why is it? Is it your family? Is that why? Is it to prove other people wrong? For sometimes that's part of your why. Yes. What is it? Why? What motivates you? What drives you? What gets you up in the morning? Why do you read these books? Why do you come to these events? They say that they're the five M's. More meetings makes more money. Why do you go to more meetings? Why do you do this? Because it's just who you are. You just finally, eventually, you come to this is who I am, and you get comfortable with it. You go, I like to learn. I'm addicted to learning. I'm addicted to growth. I'm addicted to achieving my dreams, checking them off my list. I'm addicted to that. Positive addictions, right? So the final question is that why question. The final question actually is the how question. And most people start with the how question first. They go, well, how am I going to make this money? You bounce it off of somebody. So, well, how am I supposed to find my friends and family? And they always go to how. And it's the wrong question at the wrong time. You just sit down with them and say, let's talk about. That's why you're welcome to give them a copy of this book and say, let's sit down and let's draw your maps. It's very motivating, because when you finally realize, oh, this is what I really want. Okay, well, how are you going to get that? You need a vehicle to get you there, to get to the dream style. You want to have a bigger house. How are you going to do that? I know how. But first, we ask you those other 6 questions first. Do you really want to do this for the people that you love in your life? Are you willing to go out into the uncomfort zone, to be uncomfortable for long periods of time in order to get this dream of yours? So when you get really clarity with your brand new person, that's the most important thing you can train them to do, to get really clear on what they want. And maybe they won't want what you're trying to offer them. And that's okay.
Okay.
Because if you brought them in and they got started and eventually blame you for getting even started in this industry, you don't want that either. You want them to do it because they want it, not because they want it for you, because they want it for themselves, right? So the book, The Success, the Four Maps is my gift to you. Enjoy it. And some of you have already drawn your four maps. Send them to me. I'd like to see them. author@robertallen.com. Send them.
Have you got a website that some of these folks can, because we were trying to put the link on the chat and it wouldn't allow us to do that. So is there a place they can go find this and download it? We'll post it.
I send it to you, Chris.
I got it. Okay, well, I'll get it out there.
I don't know how to do it from that point on.
Me either. I'm not
It's
high
your
tech
job.
enough. We'll give it to Andrea and Ant. We'll figure out how to
Yeah.
get that done. You know, I think I don't even know how to follow up with something like this. I'm thinking of all the things you said were so true that it was something that you said that was so real profound to me. It was that the why is so critical. You will figure out how.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is so much more, and because people ask me, why did you do this? I said, I had a reason. I didn't know how. And honestly, Coach Rowland didn't know how either. He's supposed to be the guy teaching me. He didn't know how either, but we knew what we wanted. Coach Palmer, I mean, you text me, we got to get Robert Allen to Florida, and I'm just going to talk about right now. So what we got to do to get him to come to Destin. So,
well, you know, I mean, my background has been coaching, Robert, my professional career, and I feel like I've had a $10,000 course this morning. And the 5 M's, you know, more meetings make more money. And I look back and I go, you know, I've listened to so many people, and then, but I guess I walk away and go, did heart come out? Like, did their passion come out? And when passion comes out of a speaker, or passion comes out of an author, or passion comes out of somebody that's been there and done it, you can feel it. You walk away with this. It feels like you've walked out of church. You feel great. And I obviously have looked up to you. I've read your books. I've you know, and I've added them into my business and in my practice and in being an entrepreneur. But I just want to say thanks. I mean, Chris, I can't say enough about this morning. For all of us that look around and go, we want to be the number 7 person. We want to be that 1 out of 7. Like, we call ourselves the entrepreneur. But to me, when you listen to you, Robert, it's like we've got to cut ourselves open, if you will. I know that might be a gross analogy, and reflect and go, am I doing the things I need to be doing to call myself a number 7, to call myself an entrepreneur? And then as I'm getting out there and I'm learning with the intent to teach people, because I hope that's what we're all doing. Yeah. Am I showing that passion? Am I showing that enthusiasm of love? Is it coming out? Because yours sure does. So I enjoyed you in Utah, but this morning was powerful. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Also, Chris, if they want a copy of Think and Grow Rich and the audio version of that,
yes,
digital version, the audio version, I'll send that to you as well, Chris, the links to that, and you're welcome to share it with your team.
We've also, in the chat room, Anthony was able to do that. So if the first one you sent me, it's already in the chat. They can copy it. It's in the chat room.
Oh, let's look at that. Yeah, let's look.
There. So they've been, I'm not techy enough, but I promise you this, between Andrea and Anthony,
all right. Okay, good. There, I see it. Okay,
so
good.
up there. So people are already downloading that right now.
Okay. So who was it? Was it Anthony? Anthony is from Texas. Is that?
That's correct.
All right. So Anthony, what's your email address? And I'll send you the link for the Think and Grow Rich book. As let's see, I could probably type that in myself, couldn't I? Yeah, I could, couldn't I? All right, let me try to do that. And I'll step away for a minute while I figure that out. I'll put that into the chat for the links, and I'll turn the time back over to you, everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm inspired myself each Saturday. I think it was a great week, but I will put you down as this is the best one of the year. for me personally, because you're so right. The motivation, the way you take at things. I'm going to say one thing that Robert didn't allude to, but I want to make a comment about, and that is that as an employer, and I employed a lot of people, most of you may not know my background, there was never any fulfillment there other than I made money. And I will admit that it was a good thing because I made a lot of money. But what I love about what we do now is what Robert talked about, someone sending him a letter and saying, you changed my life. If there's any one thing about what we do, and when I'm talking about our industry, is two things we have. We change people's lives because of their health. We can change people's lives because of their financial direction, but we create a community. I have never had this many friends. I still have one friend from my plant, from the Blue Jean factory, one guy that I still communicate with. Yet in this industry, I mean, I can never explain to you the community and the friendship and the fellowship that I get. And I think it's the part that makes it so hard to not be a part of, to me, if and sadly enough, not everybody will take the journey with you, but don't take it so personal. I do. I take it personal and I try not to. But did you, I don't know about you, Brent, did you not enjoy hearing Robert talk about the early failures? Because everybody thinks everybody thinks when they see the success story that they just climbed that ladder right up. They just didn't have any trouble. And that's the difference maker. So anyway, wow.
Well, and I know we got to go, Chris, but I've read your book, and when he related that back, I look back on it and I go, every move that everybody on this Zoom is making in your professional career path of network marketing today in our company, you don't know the effects you're going to have on the world down the road because of your willingness to run through what feels like to be a jungle at the bottom where you're not on top of the mountain. Robert Allen has been there. Chris Doyle has been there. But because, and many of you have been there, but because we continue to fight through those jungle, as I call it, moments down at the bottom of the mountain when we're going through rocks and we're getting beat up and things, we don't know the direction and we're getting lost a little bit. We're out of our comfort zone. But you look back and you go, because of that, somebody like Chris Doyle has impacted so many people because and I'm one of those people that I've met him and he's impacted my life since I've met him and I've got to know him. But if he wouldn't have continued fighting through the jungle, this impact would have never happened. So thank you, Chris, for putting these on every Saturday. And today was amazing.
It really was. James Zhang, thanks you for being here. Any parting word from you? Because we about made you a co-host every week now. So James, I'm gonna put you on the spot and say we're gonna make you say something before you go.
Thank you. I will I'll put the links to this book. I'm having trouble finding it, so I'll send it to you, Chris, later, and you can forward it on to Anthony. And
we'll get them out. I assure you. Send me the links. We will get them out.
All right, everybody. My best to you.
See you, Robert.
Whole day.
I'll share a quick story. Bob changed my life. I was deciding between, should I be a medical doctor? This is when I was early in my network marketing career. My mind was going in all different places. And I was just like, I can go through a corporate career. I can go through real estate, all these different types of things. I met Bob at a convention. And I don't know if Bob remembers this. This was years ago, 10 years ago. And I went up to Bob and said, Bob, why should I do network marketing? And how should I do this multiple streams of income? And Bob, you gave me a piece of advice that I've adhered to this day. You said, focus on one thing first and then diversify from there. And you said a figure, 20,000 a month in your network marketing business. And then from there, start to diversify. And that changed my life, Bob. I said, I'm going to do this all in. That helped me make my decision to become a professional in this industry. So I just want to thank you, and amazing to have you on this morning.
All right.
We're gonna have to have you back. So the chat room's full of they can't even keep them going. There's so many comments. So we will definitely be. They've been putting the links out, and we'll put them out again. We'll put them on all of our group leadership, and Robert's going to send me the other links. So thank you so much, and we're going to be in touch about Florida. So Coach Palmer, anything else from you? We're going to.
Absolutely not. Great morning. Thank you.
Guys, thank you for being here. Always good on Saturday mornings. one of the most inspiring to me. I mean, I'm almost, what can I say? I wrote multiple pages. I know people, they were looking at, I'm like, I'm writing things down. So anyway, always great to have a good Saturday morning start. So thanks for being on, guys, and look forward to, hope your team wins today, whoever you are. We're all ready for football. Todd and Steve are down there in the Grove, and they're probably still listening in, so we won't holler at them. But guys, y'all have a great day, and we will see you. Coach, your Sunday night call still going? You got something special tomorrow night?
Sunday night call, we'll be talking more about the event. Andrea's got that lined up. It's going to be a great call. So see you on Sunday night.
All right.
Love you guys. Grateful for you.
James, have a good day, guys. Have a good one.
See you, James.
Blessings.